Cooler heads need to prevail. Who's he? The vast majority of police, both men and women, are fantastic people right now. Some of the best people I've ever known were police officers. They're nice, caring, in love with people, and we all knew this a month and a half ago. We literally went from giving free food and holding public prayer for those we were calling heroes at the beginning of this pandemic to vilifying and attacking their character overnight. Sure, there needs to be changes. But if we continue down the road we're on, things will not get better. 70% of current cops in DC are considering leaving the force. And guess what? I've been to bad parts of DC. You will replace them, I guarantee it, but it won't be with heroic people. Heroes won't want that job. We'll have to turn to attracting officers to the job for money or for power, not heroism. What we're doing right now is going to lead to a much tougher police force. You want proof? When a mob comes into your neighborhood to threaten you, normally what would any group do? Yep, call the police. Not this couple. They pulled weapons. They said that they watched on the news how police weren't responding to crimes and rioting, and they had to defend themselves. We will not continue in a society where the richest of us can't trust law enforcement. And many rich people are hiring private security right now. But the voting public won't stand for that. We'll demand the same protection. But we can't afford private security, so we'll get, guess what? Police. But probably not the good ones who'd want the job now. Peace doesn't follow lawlessness. We're crazy for thinking it does. It's not normal for a woman to square up to a police officer. It's not normal to have that much boldness. But for the past month, we've put police officers in harm's way. We've fed them to wolves. We've called them all evil and threatened their employment. And we're watching cops from Minnesota murder a man over and over again. That's not normal behavior for cops. You know, there's 700,000 of them, and watching these events over and over isn't normal for people. It's not normal for us to watch people get murdered over and over again. There used to be broadcast standards that prevented that. Of course we're demanding justice. But now we're charging police for self-defense, and we're giving people boldness to provoke cops into defending themselves. This lady, you shouldn't feel like you can do this. A woman her size would never square off against a big man, but she's seen police officers dragged through the dirt over the past month. White liberals' virtue signal about replacing them with social workers. You want to know who's not talking about that? People in North Baton Rouge. People in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, cooler heads are walking back those statements a little. Just some of them, but the damage is being done. Police are watching good friends and good officers being targeted, fired at the first thought of misconduct, whether it happens or not. They're watching their superiors cower to angry mobs and throwing them under the bus. This lady, it's not normal to attack another person like this. It's also not normal for a pregnant woman with her kids to pull a gun on another person. But they've both watched TV for the past month. The police are powerless. We're being told that all white people are guilty of racism. And we're learning that if we don't defend ourselves with our words or with violence, we may be destroyed. We're about to see more reasonable people pull guns on each other because they don't trust the police to defend them, or because they come to believe the other person is evil due to things they can't help, like their race. And guess what? Everyone pulls a camera now. But for this one, there were two videos. The first, which made the pregnant woman look horrible, and the second that came later that told the whole story. Guess which one made the news? Guess which one the mob got a hold of? We're being played, folks. This is third world behavior, and the media simply gives us whatever we want. And this won't correct itself. It'll get worse. We'll get a more corrupt police force, and the rich will be the only ones who escape it. They can afford to get away from the rest of us. I mean, if you could, wouldn't you remove yourself from mobs and brutality and threats against others and the risk of pulling a gun on someone? And we're all refusing to think about where the road we're on leads. And we're cheering its arrival. What do you think happens when you still need police, but you can't attract people who do it as a calling? We need to restore confidence in the police quickly. We need to return to thanking officers when we see them. Sure, we need reform, but please base your calls for reform on statistics. Base them on the acknowledgement of the reckless path that we're on. We'll never do without police. No society has, ever. And there are many countries in the world who are far more peaceful than ours who should try this first. Cooler heads need to prevail. The mob needs to be stopped. We need to have real discussions on how we can save the hearts and minds of some of the best people who are our officers and appreciate them when they do a good job and weed out the ones who shouldn't be there. Or let's be honest, if we continue this, the only officers left will be the ones we don't want doing it. Hey, if I don't get chased off of YouTube or lose all my Facebook friends over this, I'll make more videos like this, and you should subscribe.